Day 49, you pushed. So this is a response to a comment on the first video. The commenter's name is First Druk a Dollar. It's a fun handle. And I responded in text, but I'm going to do a quick video here because I think it matters. So when it comes to breakups and relationship breakdowns, when I think about all the relationship breakdowns I've had, it doesn't happen overnight. It starts with the decisions you make early on. And what I mean by that is that, so for example, when you get involved with someone who has a certain background or way of handling themselves, you know what their default programming is going to be. And their default programming is going to be based on their fears and how you're going to interact with how they present themselves. There's a website that I frequent, a guy named Rick Reynolds, and he runs a website called the BPD Blueprint. And it's all about how to be with a woman who has BPD or narcissistic personality disorder. I should have paid more attention to his material. And basically what these women only want to be with someone who doesn't give a fuck, meaning that they're always come off as much higher value than they are. Which really, in all relationships with women, that's the way you have to be. If you want to have a successful relationship with a woman, it can be a loving relationship, but you must be in control. And in my particular case, in this case, I lost control. I have photographs of her interaction with me when I knew I was in control. I have interactions on video where she was all over me and I knew I was in control. And my desperation to keep that through logical means, meaning that, oh, you want me to do this and you'll stay this way? Okay, is what created this scenario. It should have been that when I was issued shit tests, that I just was like, well, you can think that if you like, this is what's going on. And there's the door. Had I had done that, because I remember doing that early on, and I can remember her having an argument with me, and then her just, when I said that, she just embraced me because she knew I was firm in my resolve. So for all you guys who are having relationship problems, yes, on one hand, you did pick the woman that you're with, but on the flip side, because there's a lot of, you can go on YouTube, there's a lot of narcissist videos where people are talking about how these people scheme and plot. But really, at the end of the day, they're trying to plug a hole in themselves that they didn't put there. They're trying to plug a hole from, usually it was bad parenting. You know, I have, in my weakness around this girl, in analyzing the situation over and over again, I have had discussions with myself where I'm almost cursing her father. Her father's dead. I can remember the other day thinking, you know, I wish you were alive so I could go beat the shit out of you. But I mean, it wouldn't matter, right? Because her father created this in her. She used to tell me a story about how her father would make her sit in the back of his pickup truck with a bag of chips for 3 hours when he'd pick her up at school. That was his idea of babysitting her. And that would just be testament to a larger disposition of her interaction with men, where she would expect men to be distant. So like I said, I have a lot of anger towards him for doing this to her, but on the flip side, if he hadn't, there's a good chance I would never have had her in my life, because she would have had healthier relationships and might have been in one when I was available to be in one. So, the past is unchangeable. But like I said, everyone is who you pushed out. I put a link in that first video for Magnus Varelli. It's a Neville Goddard thing and a lot of attraction. Because if you have a relationship where you're depending on someone else to behave a certain way for you to be happy, then that is not going to be successful long term. It's actually hilarious. She, towards the end of our relationship, was citing things that I was doing that were affecting her happiness. And not, for example, I like to debate, people on, not debate, but have a lively conversation. We were on vacation and I had a lively conversation with a guy about Brexit. And she felt that she was uncomfortable with that. But that's, again, her shit-testing me, saying, "Oh, you got to conform to my ideals." And I should have just said, well, I can remember, I tell this to my son, there's a James Bond film, a Connery James Bond film. I think it's like Goldfinger, maybe. He's down by the pool, getting a massage, and his liaison comes to give him his assignment and talk shop. And James hops up, pats her on the bum, and says, "Run along, darling, man talk time." And she giggles and runs away. And that's what I should have done. I should have just handled her in such a way that she's not my equal, at least in all areas. I mean, there's certain things you don't talk about in front of a woman because they're not going to get it. It's not going to raise their attraction. Everything you do when you're with a woman, you have to ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing right now raising or lowering her attraction? That's the price you pay for being with a woman. Asking yourself that question when you're interacting with her. Even this week, my current girlfriend, so many times I wanted to pick up the phone and call her and just talk about this, that, or the other thing. Then I had to stop myself and say, okay, is this raising or lowering attraction? It's a scientifically proven fact that women's attraction is greater when your feelings are unclear. The attraction of my or the girlfriend who's this project's about, between the June 8th and now, is probably significantly higher. I imagine if I contacted her now, she likely would give me audience, and I could make a compelling case, and possibly I could get back together with her, but that would be for short-term gain, because I will have chased her. I will have lowered my value once again in her eyes. Right now, this time that we've been apart, this 7-8 week period, 7 weeks so far, this 7 week period where I have not contacted her or done anything will have caused her to think about all of the wonderful things I've done in her home, the way I handled her children, the way I our incredibly vibrant sex life, which I'm convinced, I know for a fact, was the best she's had, just because of her reactions, etc., etc. There are quite a few things that I taught her how to do she didn't know how to do, so. The point I'm making, that we're all about her pleasure. All of that combined, and the fact that I'm not there, because we were wonderfully excellent friends, will have definitely raised my attraction. And so day 10 is more powerful than day 5. Day 20 is more powerful than day 18. Day 40 is more powerful than day 32. And it's just, this is a marathon. And if she's with a guy right now, let's pretend she was with a guy the week I left. that's possible, fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. Because although she would give him attention and idealize him, etc., he will not be a shadow of who I am. And that will do two things. A, it will, on one hand, she thinks, oh great, he's not him. But on the flip side, after a week or two, it's like, oh great, he's not him. I personally experienced that. My current girlfriend, lovely girl, attractive, etc., but she's not her. And it's not that I have one-itis. I've had enough women in my life to know, I've driven enough cars in my life to know which car I like driving the best. And my current, the subject of this project, this girl, is the one that I like driving the best. Not to say there's not better out there. Sure, there's several billion people on the planet, yakety yak. And I can keep looking. And if ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what I have to do, I will do it. But invoking the law of attraction, which says, whatever you want, you get. If you set yourself in such a way that you're a vibrational match for it. Well, if there's one thing I can suggest that my girlfriend was, that I was not, that made our vibrational disparity, she, towards the end of our relationship, was actually far more confident than I was. We were a very symmetrical vibrational match at the beginning of our relationship because the male-female polarity was perfect. At the end of our relationship, the male-female polarity was imperfect. And that was what caused the issue. Anyway, I've digressed enough. Remember, take this to heart, gentlemen. If you're thinking about getting someone back or you're in a relationship that's in crisis, remember, it is you who are pushing them out. If you're in a crisis relationship, just say, hey, baby, I need some time, and go away and work on yourself. Work on your confidence. Because this is the only way a male-female dynamic relationship can work. She's not your buddy. She's not, yes, you can be best friends and that kind of stuff, but it's a different level. It's actually a much higher level than with one of your buddies. As I said to my son the other day, a romantic relationship is the strongest bond you'll ever have, and at the same time, it's the weakest. In any case, thanks for listening, guys.